Stadium, Stan the Fan takes you there. It's back to the Pressbox Radio Sports Power Lunch from Fox 1370 Sports Radio.
Matt Zenitz, Nick Berger, and Joe Gambo back with you, replacing Stan the Fan today. Stan will be back with you next week. And, of course, you can call in, voice your opinion with us, 410-481-1370. And, guys, I know you're both basketball fans. Right. Were you disappointed last night with the Cavaliers? Because I'm sad to see LeBron go.
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, man. I'm a Kobe fan. He's got the eye of the tiger, man. He just, he sees that somebody's they're not ready, and he just grabs them by the throat, man. And that's what you need. LeBron, I think he's great talent, one of the best talents in the league, but he needs that heart. He lacks that right now.
Hey, have you ever seen one person get more attention than LeBron over this last week? I think he got enough attention that he made Ben Roethlisberger jealous, Tiger Woods jealous. I think they were attention hungry.
I was going to say Tiger Woods.
I'm telling you right now, if any girls in Pittsburgh are listening and attention hungry Ben Roethlisberger, look out. Travel in teams of two, lock all bathroom doors, everything. But hey, I'm serious. I've never seen one person get more attention than LeBron over this last week. It was unbelievable. Even after the game last night, you see LeBron go into the locker room, taking his shirt off. I mean, it was like they're looking for any indication of what he will do in the future. It's amazing to me.
Well, the story, as funny as it is the story was about LeBron losing, not the Celtics winning.
Yep.
And I have to say, I agree. That's the most important. That's the most interesting story to me. I mean, LeBron is.
But it's overplayed, though, don't you think?
But people keep wanting to hear about it. People keep reading about it. People keep watching it. LeBron is the star of the NBA. I think Kobe is a better player, but LeBron is the better star. That's how I look at it. I think,
and he's the future of the NBA. That's the key. LeBron is 25 years old. Kobe, I know it's tough to hear this, Joe, especially since you're creeping in on 30 now, but Kobe is on the other side of that prime.
Right.
So let's go out to the phone line. So, like I said, you can call in and voice your opinion with us, 410-481-1370. Let's go out to T.O. in Pikesville. T.O., you're on with Matt, Nick, and Joel. How you doing, sir?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing well.
I'm a first-time caller, and I was compelled to call because I want to congratulate Joe. He used to be the personal trainer at Bally's Total Fitness.
Yep.
I don't know if he told you guys that.
Oh, he did.
What's going on? Thanks, man.
Hey, Joe, I don't know if you remember the big Nigerian dude, almost your size?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that you made it. I pray that you will succeed in your future endeavors, and I pray that you have a very long and successful career in the NFL.
I thank you, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
and I'm rooting for you. I ask about you from your boy all the time. Your boy that went to Iraq.
Yeah, Mike.
Yes. So I pray you have a successful, injury-free career, and I would love to see you in the Ravens uniform.
Well, we'll pass this along to Ozzie Newsome. And hopefully listens to you, T.O.
All right, babe. So God bless.
All right, thanks. You too.
Thanks a lot for the call. And let's stay with that. Let's talk about the Ravens. Nick and I were out at minicamp this past week, and like I said before the break, we're going to talk about the biggest thing that, in our minds, will hold the Ravens back from winning a Super Bowl this year. And my answer will actually surprise you guys, because I know everyone wants to harp on the cornerback position, and that's definitely an area of concern. When you look at Dominic Foxworth and Chris Carr being your two starters, and really, I mean, who's the nickel? You don't know at this point. It could be Kerry Williams. It could be Travis Fisher if they sign him. Might be Fabian, depending when he comes back. But in my mind, the biggest area of concern, it's not something right now, but down the road, since Jared Gaither, I think, will get traded, is the offensive line. And Joel, you have football experience.
Right.
Games are won in the trenches.
Right.
The Ravens in the trenches on defense, they're set. They're fine. I have no concerns whatsoever about the Ravens on defense, or at least in their front seven. But offensively, look at what they did without Jared Gaither last year. They were obviously a playoff team. They made it to the second round of the playoffs, the AFC Championship the year before. But without Gaither in the lineup last year, he missed 6 games, or I guess 5.5. He got hurt in the second quarter of the New England game. Without him in the lineup, they were 2-4. They were a much different team without Jared Gaither just being that presence on the left side. When Michael Orr had to shift over to the left, that's fine. Michael Orr, I think, is a solid substitute. But the problem is, by doing that, you all of a sudden downgrade at right tackle. And I'm not saying O'Neal Cousins isn't a starting caliber player. Maybe down the road he still has potential, but he's not there right now. And I think Lamar Woodley proved that in Week 16. So if you trade Jared Gaither, you get good value. I'm sure you'll get a second-round pick in next year's draft, and being that he will most likely be out the door next year, he's an unrestricted free agent after this season, I guess you have to look at getting the value. But at the same time, if you're a team looking to win now, and I think it's fair to say the Ravens are a legitimate Super Bowl contender right now, do you really downgrade that much? And I think it is a significant downgrade on the offensive line, which is one of the most important pieces to winning the Super Bowl, in order just to get value for next year. Is it worth it?
No, it's really not, man. You could see that actually with us as well, with the Eagles. We lost Jackson right before the playoffs, I think it was, and, we struggled at the center position, lost a couple snaps, and that was felt as well. So, the offensive line is a very key component in even getting the pass downfield or running the ball. So they
control everything offensively. Jared Gaither has just as much to do with Joe Flacco's success as any of the receivers do.
Right, exactly. So, if you lose your offensive line, and you pretty much you can't pass downfield because the defensive line is on your quarterback, or you can't run the ball because you don't have guys blocking. So,
O'Neal Cousins, I think, is a solid run blocker. He's I'd say a liability a little bit, against defending against guys like Lamar Woodley, at least at this point in his career.
Yeah, his problems, his deficiencies were clearly showed in the Pittsburgh game this season, where it was just, and the Ravens have to play Pittsburgh twice a year, and there's other teams that are getting pass rushers. It's going to be tough. There's going to be a huge liability if O'Neal Cousins is out there instead of Jared Gaither.
Yeah, and I think Ravens fans have gotten used to this, at least at this point, liabilities at the right tackle position. And I'm not comparing O'Neal Cousins to Ethan Brooks by any means, but when you look at the left side, it was cemented for all those years with Jonathan Ogden. Then you look at the right side, it was an area of concern. Tony Pashas, Ethan Brooks, Orlando Brown, solid run blockers. But they couldn't stop the pass rushers coming off the edge, and that, proved very costly, especially facing teams like Pittsburgh, not only in the regular season, but you think to the playoffs as well.
That's right. Well, it really comes down to, this year, do you think you can win the Super Bowl or not? If you think you can win the Super Bowl, do you really want to hurt your team? Long term, sure, it'd be a great deal to get a second-round pick, probably a high second-round pick for Jared Gaither.
Especially if it's coming from Buffalo.
Exactly.
Buffalo might not win a game this year.
Yeah, so it comes down to, do you think you can win now? Is it worth the risk? And I don't know if it is.
Is it worth the risk? Because in my mind, it isn't.
No, it's not.
It's your replacement. Can you sign a veteran right tackle? If you can sign a veteran right tackle,
Flozell Adams is out there. I think that would be an option, at least if they did trade Jared Gaither. But you have to look at it from both sides. I understand the concerns from the Ravens standpoint. They're not going to lock him up long term. Jared Gaither, regardless of whether he plays left side or right side for the Ravens, he wants left side money. He proved he can be a left tackle in the NFL. So the Ravens aren't going to pay two left tackles. They view Michael Orr as their left tackle of the future. Jared Gaither, they have questions about his work ethic. But at the same time, regardless of that work ethic, Jared Gaither is still one heck of a football player. He's among the top tackles in the league, still very young. And like I said, it's a significant downgrade if you get rid of him. It's just not worth it because the Ravens are right on the brink of the Super Bowl. If you don't watch ESPN, you hear them talk about the Ravens all the time with the acquisitions of Anquan Bolden, even Dante Stallworth. There are very few deficiencies on this team, and if they lose Jared Gaither, that will be a new one. And that will bump them down, at least in my mind, below a team like Cincinnati, who, of course, won the division last year, and then through the draft upgraded even more. Cincinnati hasn't really been talked about, but Cincinnati did as much in the draft to help their team this year as any team in the league.
Well, really, just to play a little devil's advocate here, though, having the Ravens built their team by making moves like this, going against the grain, where some people would think this is a little, some people may view it as short-sighted, but this would be a long-term deal, a long-term move, looking for the best of the franchise, so the Ravens are always able to compete, not just this season for a Super Bowl, but every single year they're a playoff team or in playoff contention. That's the argument for pulling this trade and getting rid of Jared Gaither, because long-term, it's tough to argue against this because it doesn't look like Jared Gaither is going to be signed past this year. They're not going to franchise him. They're not going to pay him.
That would be a huge surprise.
Well, looking at the Ravens last year, I felt as though, their receiving core kind of lacked. And I felt they did a great job actually bringing in Anquan Bolden and Stallworth.
Especially for what they had to give up to get him. To only give up a third and fourth and then to get a fifth back.
Right. And, so they'll be a more explosive offense now. That takes some of the load off of Ray Rice's back,
Sure.
because he was carrying the whole offense pretty much last year. So I think they did a great job in the offseason. And, if their offensive line can hold up, then they'll be an explosive contender as well.
And then before we get back to the phone lines, the cornerback position has to be something that you look at and have to be concerned about, especially since Lardarius Webb, I've torn my ACL before. I know how tough it is to come back from the